Hello, welcome to ADC Live. Ivo, how are you doing today?
Great, thanks. Thanks, Misha. How about you?
I'm doing good. This is our, I think, second time this week we're doing a live event. We're pretty popular. Just did one partner ours yesterday with LumApps. Now we're doing one here on LinkedIn, a more public one. So this session, Ivo, I'm very excited about this session. I'm very curious what you're going to teach us about structured content, structuring content with metadata and extending it out. I know a lot of this is conceptual and kind of giving some ideas of what is the art of the possible. So this is a very exciting topic for me. So I'm very excited to hear what you're going to teach us in this one.
Yeah, sure. Just a little reminder for everyone who is watching this video today. So you can interact with us by means of a comment on the LinkedIn event that Misha has shared on LinkedIn. And welcome to everybody who is watching this live or even in a replay in a while from now. So yeah, I can't wait to begin this show today. What would you like to share about the pro tip of the week, Misha?
So I think for the pro tip, because it's metadata relevant, this is something that we've loosely touched this a couple of months ago, back in June, I think. But a lot has evolved. That's related to the bulk actions tool, LumApps. I think most of the customers that we speak to already have the bulk actions tool enabled, even though I think it's still in closed beta. But I don't think much minds us talking about it. This one's really cool because now you can actually do things at scale, modify contents at scale. But specifically as it relates to metadata, you can now actually update contents and either add metadata at scale or remove them at scale using the bulk actions tool, which I think is really exciting. So those of you who aren't yet aware of it or haven't asked LumApps or your CSM to enable this tool for you, you should definitely go ahead and do so to, obviously play around with it, test it out, give LumApps any feedback if you have any feedback, and just see how you can use it to really maximize your CMS experience in LumApps. So let me just show you how it's done. So here, once you have it enabled, you have this in your content type section. You have now all contents, which is really cool, because before you had to kind of go into each one of these in the backend to search for different content type pages within these different content types. So if you have, if you have like more, if you have 3 or 4 content types, even if you have less than that, still you have to, if you're not sure where the page belongs, in the backend it's a little bit hard to search. With this feature enabled, you have this all contents bucket, which is like the master bucket for all your content buckets. Here you can search for all the contents. So in here, I can actually, first of all, use these filters, and I can filter down on all the contents across all my content, LumApps content types on this specific site, right? It's not across all the sites, it's only related to this site only. And I can kind of filter on author or a specific content type or a combination of both. So say here I'm going to filter on contents created by myself. Okay, and then let's say I'm going to go back down and let's say I'm going to choose different metadata that I want to contents from metadata. So let's say I'm going to find automation hub. Let's say that one. I'm going to do apply. So it gives me a bunch of different contents. Now what I do is I do select all these contents, and once I choose the select option, add the edit options here. Now, obviously, you can unpublish at scale, archive at scale, have more actions like to, delete them. But what I want to do is this is a really cool one that's related to what we were talking about, metadata, etc. I can edit these options, and it gives you all these nice little things in their LumApps Designer. Like you can go ahead and you can update the author. So, for example, here, if I or you, for example, you're a content manager, right, and you have somebody who left your team or moved to a different department, and you want to update the author from that person to a new person who's taking ownership of the content, right? This actually is relevant to the roles as well. So you can choose to replace the author, and let's say I want to choose from myself, and just for fun, I'll choose let's say Ivo. I'll make use the author. I can do that, and you'll be able to. We have several Evo accounts here, so I'll choose this one for example, right? I can replace that at scale. Then you can choose expiration date, when do you want content to expire. And here, this is the cool part, this is the metadata, right? So here, you can choose which metadata you want to update. So let's say if I click on, so I see the content types here, sales portals, and this is a landing page. So this landing page is content type. This is a team content, right? News. But what is the metadata? So let's say if I want to click on this one, that gives me which metadata this has. So this one has benefits metadata, and it has destinations that are London and people teams, right? So that's nice. So I'm going to X out of this. Then I'm going to go to destinations. And let's say if I want to either add or remove or replace, right? So I don't want to actually do it because I have a system set up, but I'll show you guys how it's done. So let's say replace. I have the people team metadata here, right? So I want to choose that one, and what I want to replace it with. Let's say I want to replace it with something else, like from this area, like it's a people team and not automation hub or whatever it is. Doesn't really matter, right? I can go ahead and do next, and it'll automatically out of the box just replace the whole thing, update the metadata, update the authors, right? So obviously, and this is, you cannot really go back and undo. There's no, like, as far as I see, there's no history, but obviously undoing it is very simple because you go back and you undo back the actions. I do want to say it's very important though, when you want to switch and update metadata using this feature, you have to be very careful because metadata, right? It's not like we learned before. We learned in our last session, I believe, that metadata has about 7 or 8 different impacts in your intranet, right? And it's not just content structure or architecture or discovery, right? It's also analytics. So if you're unplugging metadata, right, from a content, or you want to change, replace, or remove, right, you have to be very careful because once you unplug it from a piece of content using this designer, you're losing the ability to filter on that specific. You're losing the data that was attached to that content through the metadata, right? So let's say, for example, you have a whole use case of people team content. So you have people teams includes like onboarding, benefits, payrolls, right? All that kind of stuff. Now let's say I'm gonna take one content that has the people team metadata attached, and I'm gonna remove it and add something else onto it, right? So now if I go back to my analytics and I filter on people team metadata contents, I'm going to have a lot less data, right? Because that content was now unplugged from that metadata. And even if I go back and re-add it later, right, you kind of lost that initial connection to the analytics that was driving it before is now it's not going to be plugged back in. If you have questions about how to use metadata with analytics and how to use that for filtering, searching, I suggest you go back to our last week's session about metadata menu where we discussed this. But so just a watch point, be very careful if you do decide to use Designer to update, modify, replace, remove metadata. But it is a very powerful tool. And if you don't care about analytics specifically, it's more about architecture use case, then obviously you can go ahead and use it. And by the way, this is for admins only, so you cannot use this feature if you're a role-based user. It's only site admins. So if you are watching, be rest assured that this is not something that anybody else can do except for you, right? So you kind of have the keys in your hands, and you have to know how to use them. That's what we're here for. So that's what a pro tip about using metadata bulk actions tool, some of the watch points behind it. And what we're excited about. So Evo, this is a really cool thing that you actually masterminded this the past couple of weeks. And this is our new How to Press widget called the org chart, organizational chart. And this is a very cool new thing that, traditionally, if you want to take look at the org chart in LumApps, you have to go back to a user profile. So let's say here, I go to the user profile, click on the profile, and I see the org chart just underneath my profile here, right? Which is fine. But many times you might want to take this org chart out and put it to a different experience, page, space, community, right? And really map it to a specific person who's the head of that department or function, or business unit, whatever it is, right? And you want the org chart to kind of build itself out, starting from a specific person downwards, right? So right now, until now, this was not possible, but thanks to our organizational chart extension, it is. It's very simple. Let's say if I go to any page here. This extension, just like all of our extensions, right? They're very modular. You know, you need to roll out a specific series of things to roll it out. All you do is go to a page, go to your widget designer, edit the page, and you want to plot the widget onto the page. It's using all LumApps' native designs, so I go to extension widgets, search for my org chart. By the way, it is publicly available if you're a LumApps customer, so you can go to extension library, look it up, extension chart, find it, test it, like it, let us know what you think. Add it to your page. Okay, so it added it to the page. Now, so here are a couple of things. It automatically goes by the highest person in the hierarchy. But let's say I want to map it to a specific user. So I'm going to go and choose, let's say, Evo. And I want to start from Evo. It's going to start from Evo. Then I want to say, I want to show the Evo to be the top of the hierarchy. And I want it to go down, let's say 1, 2, we can go up to 5 levels, let's say 3 levels, right? I don't want loading times to be back too much, so 3 levels I think is good enough for my org. We can go deeper if you like. Now, because it is a LumApps design system supported extension, very simple. I go to styles. You might already have a style baked in like I do. I'm simply going to go here. I already have a style for this org chart widget. Org chart, gray. I like the gray. Going to go in, click it. It renders the widget the way I want. In fact, now let me go back and add a title. Click sales org chart or sales org chart, something like that. Go ahead and save. And see, very simple, very easy. Respects all your design brand identity in one shot. You set it up on the page. Don't have to worry about it. And there it is in your nice and gray, showing everybody beneath you. So, and obviously, if your org has more reports, it'll show more reports as well. So, Ivo, anything else that I missed on this one? Or
well, I appreciate a lot that you consider me a sales. You know how much I am a technician. But yeah, well, thanks a lot for your thoughts. And yeah, well, very much appreciated. I will do my best to sell the widgets, but well, I don't know if that. Yeah, well, that's it. I think that it's everything about this widget. Right now, we are possibly evaluating the addition of a different display for the org chart, because this one is the user profile is the same display as the user profile, while maybe in some contexts it could be more helpful to have a vertical layout instead of a horizontal layout. So maybe in the future we will be adding also that one to this org chart. Please let us know what do you think about the current implementation, and what about which extension, which evolution of this widget could make most sense for you. So get in touch if you wish, and we are here. So anytime. Thank you, Misha.
Thank you, Owen. I'll be very mindful not to put that into the sales with IT next time.
Yeah.
So, and Metadata, so I guess probably already know. Those of you who joined, we're just going to go through this very briefly. But why we're here, really, why we're here is to make LumApps a very simple, very happy experience for you. It is a tool that constantly evolves as it should, right, through all the mergers, acquisitions, etc., and just general product evolutions. So we're kind of here to kind of help assess, analyze, make this experience as clean for you and your org as possible through experience designs and integrations and strategy and really combination of everything, not just one-sided, but really the full scope of it, because we are really LumApps subject matter experts, and then from front to back and beyond. So that's really what our goal is, and to bring kind of your vision to the vision of your ecosystem to the value that LumApps brings. And just a reminder, we do have over 30, now it's 35 extensions in the marketplace. Not all these are listed here, but you can very easily go to our ADC docs site, docs.adc.dev, very simple. You go in and type in docs.adc.dev, and you'll see all of our, it's a public site, actually it is built on LumApps completely, and you can see all of our latest announcements, featured widgets. You can search for something, or go to the search or widgets, search from here as well, or just see a list and check them out. If you have questions, comments, thoughts, you'd like us like something custom made, let us know. We're more happy to help. So with that in mind, Ivo, back to you.
Sure. Yes, of course. So let me share my screen. Maybe I'm going to add my screen to the stage. So just a little recap about what we are going to speak about today. So that's metadata, right? But how can you get the most out of metadata? So this presentation will be mainly theoretical, and we will go through how can you use metadata in text search, the old classical one. How can you use it for your semantic search engine, the one that has been implemented by LumApps recently, but that is nowadays very, very common everywhere. What does mean hybrid search, for example? And then we will see a little example of how metadata could improve the search experience in any one of these. Just one little detail. In fact, when I speak about semantic search, you will see that it's the same tool that can be used also in chatbots. So let's deep dive into this and let's see how actually we can use metadata for all of those aims, right? So first of all, I was searching for a plane, a toy plane, of course, on Amazon last week, and I have noticed this on the Amazon left portion of the screen. And it's very, very little, right? When you are on an Amazon page, this one is quite hidden. It's on the left, and it's always passes not seen by the common visitor. But this one is metadata. So a little recap. For LumApps, in fact, what LumApps calls metadata is actually a taxonomy. And that's a taxonomy that you have to populate yourself by means of clicking in the back office of LumApps, right? But here in this case, we have a taxonomy that has been populated by Amazon on the basis of their worldwide e-commerce site. Let's say that this is strictly related to the e-commerce domain-specific language. So in this case, you find the concepts that are close to consumers. In the case of LumApps Digital Workplace, these concepts will be common to all the employees of the same organization. And eventually, these concepts might even be associated to a very specific domain inside the domain of activity of that company. So here I'm referring to, for example, Airbus. Airbus, they build the planes, so their taxonomy will be about planes. EA is about video games. They will have a taxonomy related to video games. But inside EA, for example, you have human resources, you have engineering, and those domains have their own subset of the taxonomy. What is very important about that taxonomy is that it has a very important special properties. So in this case, you can see those arrows on the top and on the right of this screenshot, right? And so, for example, you have a left side and a right side. If you go to the left, you are going to generalize. So if you were on submarines in this picture, for example, if you go to the left, you will have the remote and app controlled vehicles, toys and games department, and so on, right? So if you go up, you generalize the concept. If you go right, deeper, in that case, you are going to specialize the concept. And so in this case, you are moving from toys to submarines. Yeah, well, that's it. And the second very interesting property, special property that a metadata has, are the seedlings. So that those items that are at the same level in terms of depth are all synonyms, and they are at the same conceptual level. This means that you can switch from one to another very, very quickly, and you can fine-tune your results, and you can maybe add some serendipity. And yeah, of course, those are commonly synonyms at that level of depth. So, as I said, these are filters that are visible on the Amazon.com UI. This means that you can use those filters to drill down your results. This is a feature that is not available in LumApps out of the box with LumApps native search. But that is something that you could be using, for example, if you were using Coveo. We are LumApps partners, we are Coveo partners. And so Coveo, for example, exposes this kind of feature. If you are using a search engine that allows you some degree of customization of the search pipeline, experts know what I mean with that, then in this case, you can display this kind of filter on the LumApps search UI that is integrated with LumApps. Yeah, okay. So this was the first milestone about metadata in search. Now, well, in the last 10 years, a new concept has been introduced about search, and that is the semantic search. What does that mean precisely? Okay, well, a little theory. So you know that, for example, every company has lots of data. Those are all those reports that you have collected during the years. They have the most different formats and so on. You have, of course, also, well, you can use that data to extract, to go, well, through a certain level of a certain number of steps to transform it into information and into knowledge. So semantic search is rather on the knowledge portion of this chart. So with search, we were moving to the second layer with the textual search, and we were leveraging the information in those documents. Semantic search somehow moves us to the next step, the knowledge. And the knowledge is something that allows you to carry out actions over your information. So those dots are now connected. How are they connected? Okay, this one has so much colors, right? So what is important to know is that in the last 10 years, we have understood how to map text to a geometrical shape. So mathematics here, plenty of mathematics everywhere. But the idea is that to oversimplify how it works, you can take any concept that you can speak about, and you can draw a point on this bidimensional space that you have here. And so, for example, I am a technician. I handle technology all the days. So my work area, my purpose as an engineer, lives in that section of blue points that you can see on the screen. But what is really, really, really nice about this is that a geometrical shape has properties that you can leverage to extract new insights. So that's the previous slide where you move from knowledge to insights, right? So in this case, well, let's focus on the bottom right corner of this picture. Do you see that simplified chart in which you can see that two dots are connected? Well, two couples of two dots are connected. So France, Paris, and Germany, Berlin. You can see that every one of those is a point on this chart. But what is important here is the arrow. The arrow is the relationship between those two dots. Do you see how much those arrows are similar in the sense that they are long, about the same length, and they are oriented in the same direction? So this is precisely what is important, because that space contains this kind of relationships. And so, for example, you can, let's imagine that you don't have an arrow between Germany and Berlin. But given the arrow between France and Paris, you can build that arrow, you can draw that arrow, and you can extract the information that you were searching for. So if Paris is the capital of France, then what is the capital of Germany? You draw that arrow and you will get the answer. That's how semantic search works. This is the value added of having a semantic search in your enterprise. Because in fact, you can get all of your documents, you can map them on this b-dimensional space. Well, b-dimensional is not really true. That is a space with so many dimensions, but you can map all of your documents into this space and use the relationships between the documents to extract more insights useful to you for your everyday work. That's what semantic search is about. So, what we can do is that, for example, for our customers, what we do is that we index that content that they have into their Coveo search engine. We add more. Well, LumApps already does that. LumApps indexes those contents into the Coveo search engine. We can add more information to those documents, for example, to use that information to improve the search. And what is also very, very important is that not only the documents have metadata, LumApps metadata, but you can leverage another very important feature present in LumApps, that is the user directory. So in your company, you have what is called an identity provider. And this identity provider essentially is the primary source of truth about who your users are. Typically, in those identity providers, you will find metadata about your users, such as he's Misha, he is from the C-level, and he's the founder of the company. Then we have Paolo. Paolo is a senior software engineer. He's from engineering, and he works on this kind of topics, right? So this metadata in a strong search engine such as Coveo can be put in relationship with the documents that are present on your LumApps instance. And that can be added as a context in order to filter out all the documents that are not relevant to your profile. So this is the idea. Well, when you have this kind of metadata in LumApps, in your identity provider, you can feed this data into your favorite search engine for the enterprise. And it will be able to create connections in the same way as we were speaking about those connections between France and Paris, right? What is also really, really, really important about search is that these semantic search concepts can be applied also to retrieval augmented generation. That is what you find in ChatGPT, for example. When ChatGPT gives you that wonderful answer about the topic that you are working on, it is leveraging general knowledge extracted from the equivalent of their internal Google implementation, and they are generating the answer thanks to a LLM. So even in this case, the metadata can be used to enrich the context. Part of the context is then well, the information about the user, who the user asking for that is. And then if you have a document in LumApps, which kind of content has it? Which kind of title has it? And which is the metadata associated to that content? Here I am not speaking about LumApps because LumApps excludes metadata from the semantic search. But when you leverage a search engine such as Coveo, for example, that one will be able to leverage the LumApps metadata in this context and enrich the search results thanks to that. Hybrid search was the last step in this evolution, and that was about mixing up the filters that I have shown you on the very first slide and the power of that geometrical shape that I was speaking about. So in hybrid search, you are going to leverage both in order to produce, well, the best results, filtering at the same time as distance. So that's it. That's everything about the theory. Misha, do you want to say something? Maybe I can hear some noise on your side.
I think that the question is always comes out about how to bring that structured data in, right? And I think that probably might be another topic, but bringing that information and structuring the data with the metadata and bring it into that into the engine. How to make it work?
Well,
right?
when you're using Coveo, in fact, as a search engine, LumApps automatically inserts that metadata in its index. So that is being made transparently by the LumApps to Coveo connector. And so that is transparent in this case. But in order to leverage that, potentially you need to modify the LumApps UI in order to display those filters. And that is something that we know how to do. So the best answer to that is in order to leverage the metadata, as I have shown in this presentation, please call us. That's it. And in terms of indexing, how do you put all that data into your Coveo instance? Well, that is being made by LumApps itself. So you need not to call us. That's transparent.
And maybe we can skip the example, just go straight to the step by step.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yes. It's already late, I'm sorry. So yes, of course, in terms of action items, in order to improve your knowledge strategy, well, the first simple reflex is about configuring your user directories to leverage the custom fields that you have in your identity provider. By the way, this will be the topic for one of our future ADC Live. Then the next step could be to connect a truly semantic search engine such as Coveo to your LumApps instance. And then what is important about our customers is that, for example, they build their own intelligent applications, intelligent assistants, and they craft the prompts for those assistants. When they craft those prompts, the best thing that they can do is to inject the context, so the results of the search engine along with the metadata and the context about the user. And last is that you could, for example, use a tool to manage your taxonomy. In this case, Pool Party, for example, is a good tool that allows you to manage your taxonomy that can be in the follow converted into LumApps metadata. And yeah, well, that's it. Maybe it's a bit complicated, but that's all. Thank you, Misha.
And by the way, we forgot to say, but if somebody does have comments or questions, just pop them into LinkedIn. You and I are monitoring. So if you do have questions, please ask them here, and we will try to address them. I don't see any questions right now, so we can just continue, go to the next slide. But feedback, so feedback obviously matters. If you're on LumApps customer who's watching or Lumi, you can go to our Hive page and partner ADC and give us your feedback. simply search for partner ADC on the Hive, and you should be able to find us very easily. And then we have provide us feedback through our survey extension here. 1 second. So, oops. And so here, search for partner ADC, and then you simply click to take the ADC survey. Give us your feedback. We'd love to hear what you think. Whether you like it, hate it, you want to tell us what you'd like to improve. We definitely need your feedback so we can structure these better going forward. And also, obviously, about topics. As far as what's next, we have 3 good topics lined up. Talking about micro apps deep dive. So this is more on the technical side, what's possible, and actually how to set up micro apps, and these kind of we call micro experiences with LumApps. So Ivo's going to give us a deep dive on October 1st, actually walking through this steps by steps how to build a micro app in LumApps. Then we'll talk about roles. I'll discuss some roles in LumApps and building roles, how those impact your LumApps, your sites. And we'll see kind of together different from different users, how those are created, how they're impacted, and what they do. And then October, we have one set up about LumApps content types and working with content types and templates. But give us more topics. Let us know what else you'd like us to discuss, so we can make it as informative for you as possible, because that's why we're here. Thank you all very much, Ivo. Thank you for joining, for doing this. It's a great presentation. And again, if you have questions, please let us know on-site, online, offline, and we'll be happy to address. Until next time, bye. Ivo.